That's right. Welcome to Mr. Peacock Square Plays of week number 2, football against the number, coming to you live as always from Midtown Atlanta. Folks, real quickly to recap last week, 4-0. I think I got the cigar going. And really, none of them were really even all that questionable, to be honest with you. We had to backdoor the Vanderbilt game, but South Carolina, North Carolina went pretty easily under the total. Minnesota with a late touchdown, pretty easy cover against Texas Christian. And then finally, on Saturday night, Texas A&M really pulled away, pretty easy cover 2 against Arizona State. So 4-0, really got things off to a good start, and I got to tell you, I was feeling great, folks. I was feeling fantastic. And then my boy Mike Leach decided to weigh in on our success and on our feelings and what that means going forward. I'm going to go ahead and just play you the exchange right now, and I'm going to warn you, folks, this is not safe for work. So, if you want to mute it, go ahead and do that now. Here's Leach.
Yeah, we did. But that was last fucking week. That wasn't this week. That was last fucking week. That was last week. That wasn't this week.
Point received. Folks, we're going to get week number 2 started off by leaving our plush Midtown Atlanta studio and traveling up Interstate 85, folks. We're going to Clemson, South Carolina, to the shores of Lake Hartwell, where at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, I like the Appalachian State Mountaineers coming down from Boone, North Carolina, catching 18 points against the Clemson Tigers. Folks, this is a fishy line, and I ain't running toward the stink. It's one of those things. Clemson playing at home, Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback. App State hadn't had a winning year in a while. Clemson's only favored by 18 points. You got to look at the spot here. Clemson's going to Louisville on Thursday. I think you can preach to college kids until you're blue in the face, but I guarantee you that's where some of Clemson's focus is right now, is on that Thursday night game in Louisville coming up in 5 days. 5 days from their game against App State. Appalachian State doesn't have anything to do next week, folks. They got a bye week. Their focus is solely on the Clemson Tigers. 86% of public money wagered so far has gone on the Clemson Tigers, and that makes me even more confident about this pick. Game number 2, nooner. I probably should have started with this one, number 1. We're going to College Park, Maryland, folks. I like the Bowling Green Falcons and the Maryland Terrapins playing a football game over 71 points. This thing has really been pounded up the last couple of days. It opened at 67. Rumors of Mr. Peacock taking this thing, I think, is probably what caused some of the line movement here. But I think this is going to be a pretty easy over, folks. I came this close to making it one of Mr. Peacock's 5-star locks of the month, or the 5-star lock of the month for September, I should say. Maryland scored 50 points last week against Richmond. They allowed 21. That's 71 total right there. Bowling Green scored 30 last week against Tennessee and allowed 59. If you watch that game, folks, there is not a whole lot of interest in Bowling Green playing defense. And if you look at Maryland, according to Phil Steele in the Big Ten, they got the number 8 ranked defensive back unit, the number 13 ranked linebackers, the number 11 ranked defensive line. That's Phil Steele's position rankings in the Big Ten, which for some reason Maryland's playing in now. Maryland's not a good defensive football team. Bowling Green is not a good defensive football team or an interested defensive football team. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this. I think both of these teams are getting into the 40s, to be honest with you. I think you're going to see a lot of big numbers coming from Bowling Green this year, too. So we're jumping on this. I know 71's a lot of points. Sit back and enjoy it, folks. This might actually be a fun game to watch. I don't even know what network it's on. I don't care. I don't care because I'm going to be in Nashville, I should say. Game number 3, we're going to Knoxville, Tennessee, folks. I think it's a 6 p.m. Eastern Time kick. We're playing another total. Folks, I like Oklahoma and Tennessee going over 63.5 points. I didn't see a lot last week out of Tennessee that impressed me defensively. I'll tell you that much. And I really do like Tennessee's offense, so they're explosive. They got some playmakers, especially with Kamara. I think that Tennessee's going to manage to put some points on the board in this one, and I know Oklahoma will as well. I think this is going to be a really good game to watch too. I think that both of these teams are going to get pretty solidly into the 30s in this one also. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll come down to the wire. If I had to take a side, I'd probably take Oklahoma, but I think that the over is definitely the best play here. Game number 4, we're going to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This game kicks off at 4 o'clock. We're not doing this in chronological order at all. Fire my note taker. That's good stuff. I like the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders coming down from Murfreesboro, catching 35 on a hook against the Alabama Crimson Tide, folks. This is a soft spot for Alabama between Wisconsin and their conference opener with Ole Miss next week. Middle Tennessee scored 70 points last week against Jacksonville State. I don't really know what you could read into that. Middle Tennessee has 8 starters back on each side of the football. They got a really good offensive line, at least for their own league, and they do have some talent in the back end of their defense also between their linebackers and their secondary. I don't think this is a game where Alabama's just going to blow up and down the field. Nick Saban has a pretty long and decorated history of not covering in this kind of spot either. Mr. Peacock sat right here 2 years ago and told you to take Colorado State plus a lot of points in a similar spot, and we cashed that in pretty easy against Alabama. Turning now to our mailbag. Morris from Sylacauga, Alabama writes, and I use that term loosely, "Why ain't you do no intro last week, period?" Well, Morris, I did an intro this week, but the issue last week was really one of production and timing. And we had some things basically that we had to have. I'm not going to go into too great a detail with it. Suffice it to say, it was a force majeure. It is very disappointing to me because I had an intro worked out that was highly impressive. It would have been one of the most, it probably would have been the most advanced intro that I've ever done. Okay, and that's saying something. It would have been the most impressive thing you've ever seen, I'm sure. I have it right up here in my head though, and you know, maybe I'll be able to do it at some time later on this year, and maybe I won't. You know, it's the kind of thing. It's so good. Maybe I don't want to share it. You know, did you ever think about that, Morris? Real quickly to recap, folks, we're getting the ball started early on Saturday. We like the Appalachian State Mountaineers coming down from Daniel Boone, North Carolina, catching 18 points on the shores of Lake Hartwell against the Clemens Tigers. We like the Bowling Green Falcons and the Maryland Terrapins playing a football game over 71 points. We like the Oklahoma Sooners and the Tennessee Volunteers playing a football game over 63.5 points. And finally, we like the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders coming down, catching 35.5 points against the Alabama Crimson Tide over there on the capstone. So I wish you the best of luck, and we will see you next week.